G'day everybody, two ordinary cops back again for the very end of July. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. And, mate, I'll tell you what, we're just getting this one in before the timeline because it's about 4 hours before this one's going to be released. So there'll be no checking. So hopefully we just get it all good in one run.
Yeah, good old days, mate. No dramas at all. Yeah, so I've been in Barraville all week training firefighter, so I was a bit out of the world, out of the wilderness a bit. But that's all right. We're here. A
Yep.
little bit to cover, but not a real long one today, just a bit to cover. But obviously we do, and we'll talk about more later on. There's a critical incident in Queensland through the week where a police officer's been shot and another police officer's acted very heroically. So we'll go into a bit more detail about that later. But you got a couple of shout-outs, mate.
Yeah, mate, we do. So the first one is Matt from Victoria Police. He said he's been in 15 and a half years, a detective sergeant, and he reckons he just finished listening to episode 131, and he reckons his neck was sore from nodding so much.
That's good.
So he said, yeah, and he said, look, and like, this is nice too. He said your words were spoken with experience, knowledge, but most importantly, common sense. So
Yeah.
thanks for that. That's where we're talking about the was it New South Wales?
Yeah, New South Wales Police Sergeant who was charged for putting up a roadblock in inverted commas and causing the
Yeah,
death of a young person on a stolen motorcycle. Yeah,
yeah. So and look,
that's good.
I think well, it's got to come back to common sense, doesn't it?
Mm.
I mean, we've spoken about this at length in 131, but yeah, I mean, the responsibility needs to be put back on the person that one stole the bike and
Mm.
two kept on riding after
Yeah.
police issued it to stop. So yeah,
Yep. And that's
yep,
yeah, good to hear from a DS. Good rank that Detective Sergeant. I enjoyed it.
it
It was
is.
good. Yeah,
You were at it for a while, mate.
yeah, that was a good rank. Yeah. What else we got, mate?
Yeah, mate. Just one from another guy. I won't mention him, but basically with the recent shootings, and he was also talking about from what's the one down in Bondi, the Bondi shootings,
Mm.
and all that sort of thing. And he said like it was a good shot from that plainclothes detective, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the time. And he just put out a thought out there, which might segue through nicely to the next one we're going to talk about. But whether police should do more than 1 day a year in training with the Glock mainly. And look, I'm definitely for it. I know, and I'll mention him, our old firearms instructor, Benny Rossiter. He always said the bush cops were always the better shots because we used to do a lot of target practice out in
Mm.
the bush from time to time. And there's nothing better than being really familiar with your weapon and the way it fires when you're needed in that high risk situation. So I look, I'm mate, I would even push it, and I don't know whether you agree with this, but I'd do it every 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
just to get them, used to firing it and making sure their sights are on target.
Yeah. Look, any training's good. This is the thing. The practicality of policing comes into it. I remember our training days. They said, right, we got a training day, and there'd be something maybe organised for it. A lot of the time, it was policy implementation and stuff like that. Sometimes there was a bit of training for new things coming along, but a lot of the time we just wanted to get out of there and have a day where we weren't getting sent to new investigations. This is general
Yeah,
duties I'm speaking about here. So it was give us the time to go and clear up some investigations where we're not being sent job to job to job. So I think any training, of course, there's going to be a benefit for training more. You can never, no one's ever gone backwards because they're training. The army or the military, for example, they train all the time for when they have to actually do their job. The thing with policing is, as soon as you leave the college, you're doing the job and then you retire. Like it's just you don't really have that time. You might go away on courses, promotional courses, all the rest of it. I don't know what the system is now, and I don't know what every state is, but it would all be similar. We used to do 1 week of intensive firearms training at the college, and then a 1 day requal every year. So just an annual requalification, which was just a day of refresher training, and then you do your qualification shoot. So yeah, look, more training is good. It's just the practical implementation of that training is the challenge, and I think that's the drama. But I mean, lots of us who we had firearms anyway, we sort of had a bit of muscle memory there, and you always pick things up from the training. So look, I think more training's got to be good, but it goes back to I think we were talking to was it Zach Rolfe when we were talking about
yeah,
rotating through where you have people on the road for a block of time, and then you take that whole block of people off the road and you go through and you do lots and lots of training, and just go back, reset, I should say, and then come back in and go again because you do just cook yourself. You really do. And yeah, it'd be good just to step back and then learn the latest and greatest techniques from around the place, and then go back and implement that on the road. I think that would be more of a solution. But yeah, there's absolutely nothing lost with more training.
No, but that's right. And look, the thing is, when you look at defensive tactics, we do that once a year. However, you're using your defensive tactics all through the year,
Yeah.
because it's much more hands-on. However, you're not using your firearm all the way
No,
through the year. And
no,
and I
and
think in those high-risk situations, it would be very beneficial. People just a bit more familiar with shooting it. I mean, you handle it every day. You're going through the procedure every day, but you're not firing. And that's where you really need to make sure that you're on target, I think.
yeah. And look, TRG, the specialists, they train all the time. They shoot weekly. So it's the guys that is going to be their job. They're going to be out there and they're going to be actually sent to those high risk jobs where there's much more likelihood of a lethal use of force. They are training all the time. It's very, very rare. It's a very rare occurrence. But the thing is, the consequence is extremely high when it does happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's just that balance there, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was even one up in Cairns where a bystander got hit in the leg, I think, by
Yeah,
a straight bullet.
yeah, too.
That's under investigation. How that occurred, we don't know, or worth speaking on.
No, we don't
But
know.
no, but I think any training's got to be better than just once a year.
Yeah,
The more you do it, so yeah, it's definitely a benefit. And look, mate, just another thing I did think of when I heard about that bystander. The bystanders in incidents just don't get involved. If the police are there, just stay away.
yeah,
Lock
yeah,
yourself away, honestly, because I had actually going back to a story in Catherine, had a woman. Oh, she wasn't really complaining, but she came up and said she got pepper sprayed the other day, and I said, "Well, what happened?" She goes, "These two blokes were fighting, and the police showed up, and they warned them about pepper spray." And she goes, "I was just trying to break them up," and I said, "Did you learn your lesson?" She goes, "What's that?" I said, "Get the fuck out of the way when the police show up. They
yeah,
told you to move.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're going to cop the spray as well." So
yeah.
it's
Exactly. Oh, yeah, gotta love it. Yeah, no, there's been a few funny little interjections by people on the site, but look, we don't know that's what occurred in Cairns. We're not sure what
no,
happened, but yeah, that's a good piece of advice just in general.
just
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
don't get in the way of the coppers. If the coppers are giving lawful directions,
No,
they're the ones trained, they're the ones dealing with. They're going to be held accountable.
yep.
Um, you need to just do what you're told. That's how.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
best way.
exactly. And
Never
look,
did that,
I think
there would
that
be no
that
lethal use of force.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I think from memory, I think that woman was in our own house. I don't
mm,
know, front of a house or something. That's
yeah,
but that's the only information I got. But and accidents do happen. It's
yeah,
unfortunate. But yeah, you probably best, especially when there's a high risk situation, just get the hell out of there.
yeah,
Because it's less than for the police to worry about. When they're dealing with it, because they've also, whenever they're trying to take somebody down or arrest somebody, or they've got to take concern for the public as well.
mm,
And if you're around, then your concern is going to be of the police. So they're going to be worried about how they're going to actually do it without injuring anybody else.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so
yeah.
it's just the best to get the hell out of there.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
speaking about the shootings, like obviously, we only know what's in the media with the shooting that's happened with Jordan May, the first-year constable who was shot in the Fraser Coast. So, attending what looks like a high-level incident, a domestic violence incident, where a firearm's been produced, a semi-automatic rifle, by a person who hasn't got a firearms license. So we're talking about a completely unlawful firearm here, anyway. So nothing to do with law-abiding citizens. Um, Obviously, shot in the leg. From what I've heard, he's got quite a bit of damage to his upper leg. Has gone through surgery, and from what I'm told up there, he's doing well. He's going pretty well, so that's good to hear. But also, there's two parts to the story too. Uh, his colleague, Senior Constable Ash Drummond, has from the Tactical Crime Squad in Maryborough, reportedly dragged him 100 metres to safety and then applied a tourniquet. So, driven him out to meet an ambulance and then worked on him with the paramedics. So, That's heroic, mate. That's putting yourself in the line of fire like that to get one of your mates out who's wounded. That's battlefield stuff, really. That's what happens over there. So that's a huge shout for that. But obviously, the absolute details aren't completely known, and that'll all come out. But yeah, just a huge shout to Senior Constable Ash Drummond, and all the best to Jordan May with your injuries and going forward, and hope your recovery works well. But mate, I also have it on good authority that Ash Drummond's a bit of a fan of the podcast, which is excellent news. So a little shout, mate. Well done.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, that's the highest level stuff. So I know it's only a token, but I think we can get to the source of the week. We know where it's going this week. I think we might have to get out two. So yeah, I think what have we got? 2 bottles of big camo sauce. One to Senior Constable Ash Drummond for his heroics in saving Jordan May and dragging him out under fire.
Yep.
And one also to Jordan May, because that's a hell of a price to pay for doing the job, taking a bullet to the leg. So
definitely. And look, it fits in with the sauce of the week too, or the extra sauce on the burger, because yeah, mate, you're doing your job, you're putting your life on the line to protect people. And look, mate, it was a welfare check as far as I'm aware as well. So it's always one of these things to make sure you keep vigilant in all these things. You know, how many welfare checks have we gone to, and you know the same thing could have happened. Police are doing these constantly, and you just never know when, you know, some idiot's going to rock up with a weapon and start firing at you. Yeah. So it's bloody terrible stuff, and and unlicensed as well. But that's just the way it rolls, unfortunately. But yeah, mate, my hat off to those 2 guys. One, I mean, that'd be just terrifying, getting shot in the leg, and I think it actually destroyed his femur a bit. Had to get a rod put in there and all that sort of thing. But you know, then actually apply the tourniquet and drag him 100 metres, you know, out of the way, in the firing line. That's just outstanding. So, and look, you know, mate, that's doing your job to the absolute utmost. So, good work.
A little bit on the welfare checks. I know we've sort of spoken about them in the past, but a lot of I don't know why. Occasionally I read comments and then I work out why I don't. But a lot of people would think, oh, welfare check, well, why didn't you just check on his welfare? It's because you don't know what the job is. That police will call through, no, there's a dude here who's just acting a bit weird. What's he doing? Oh, not much. He's just doing this, just doing that. And you turn up there, he pulls a knife and starts going ballistic. Well, yeah, the initial job was a welfare check, but it ended up being attempt murder police. Yeah. So, you know, this whole thing about, oh, don't ever call a welfare check in on the police. The police go to hundreds of welfare checks every day, and most of them are, you all right, mate? And it could be, quite often, it's a mental health issue. Sometimes it's someone's drunk, lost, who knows what it is. Sometimes someone's unwell, they're having a physical health problem. It can be anything, and you don't know, and no 2 jobs are ever the same. We've got these general labels that describe jobs, and the big one that we used to have was disturbance general or disturbance domestic, because basically you don't know exactly what's going on. There's a heap of people fighting in the street. Well, it's a general disturbance, so you go down and work out what's going on. But that doesn't mean all of the general disturbances are the same. No 2 are ever the same. And some are a nothing event, and others are catastrophic. They end up with very, very serious critical incidents. So, yeah, policing's completely unpredictable. And for those who haven't done it, maybe ask questions instead of barking and trying to have your 2 cents worth. The Dunning-Kruger effect runs hard when it comes to policing. People with the most to say quite often have very little idea what they're talking about. So, yeah, just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, mate, that's exactly right. And like the amount of information sometimes when you go onto these jobs is so minimal. You know, you've got no idea what's coming in, because we can only go in basically if they get a name, then they can look that up. But otherwise, it's just whoever the O caller says it's happening. Yeah. And a lot of the times that's not correct. I mean, how many times have you been called where there's a knife apparently and there's no knife? Yeah. You know, probably more often than not. The fact that
they know it'll get a response.
If you say, that's right.
All right, we're coming. Yeah, we're coming. It's a priority job, but turn up, there's no knife. There was no knife. But but the cops turned up, so that's good. Reminds me of that joke where they go, fellow reports in, calls the police and says that, you need to get here quick. I've got 2 blokes breaking into my shed. They're stealing my lawnmower. Yeah. And they go, we've got nobody available, sorry. He goes, all right, no, well, shit, that's no good. Anyway, he rings them back 5 minutes later and says, "Don't worry about coming here. I shot both of those blokes dead. You don't have to worry about locking them up." And within 5 seconds, there was a police helicopter overhead, police cars as far as the eye could see, a tactical unit turn up, and a bearcat. They turn up there, and the two thieves have been arrested, and they're sitting there still in a bit of shock for their reaction. And they said to the call taker, "I thought you said you shot them both." And he goes, "I thought you said you had no resources." That was that old one. I'd love it.
Oh, that's an absolute ripper.
But
And
yeah,
mate, also before we go on, this will probably just about do us for the day.
yeah.
But mate, we do have a carton of the week as well.
Oh, good.
And we didn't mention this one last week, and it is me, because Joel, I do apologise. When I first put your name out there, I spelt Davidson wrong.
Oh, that's it. You're sacked.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, happy with that, mate. You go and buy one of your cheap Dan Murphy's Queensland cartons, and that'll be good. I'll hope you excellent. No, very good. Yeah, look, just a really short episode this week. It's been bloody flat out. We've been out and about. There's been technical dramas. Just thought we'd
Yep.
touch base. We definitely needed to give the boys a shout out in Queensland for that excellent work up there. And just once again, all the best to Jordan May going forward. Hope you recover well, mate. And know that the policing family and the wider community is behind you. So that's something to keep in mind. And to Ash Drummond, mate, we all take it. We salute you, mate. That's incredible courage, and I know we've given you a bottle of sauce, but hopefully some government agency gives you something a whole lot better. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And it's good to see Joel send us a message, a photo with his. He got his sauce out there all
Yep.
the way out in Mount Isa. So I've got to send a few more off this week. But I do apologise, everybody. I was over in New Zealand for over the last weekend. That's why this one's a bit out of whack.
But sure, no, all good, mate. We'll be back next week. We've got more people to interview. We've got a few things coming up, so
Yep.
we're around for a while. But that'll probably wrap us, mate. Nice and short and sharp to the point today.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, no, definitely. And actually, while I was on my trip, I managed to read a couple of the police books. One was David Raymond. That was the Viper, about his police dog, and he was on our show. But I'll tell you what, get the book. The book is incredible. The amount of things that dog did. I think it actually was involved in 169 arrests in its 5-year career in the police. It's pretty good. We've also got another dog handler. We've got to line him up to get him on. I've finished his book as well, and but I'll mention more about that next week. But yeah, he's got some incredible stories, mate, and I believe he was also the one that he worked a bit with Brett Meredith. Back in Victoria, New South Wales. Sorry. Yeah. So no, absolutely top. He was actually in Northern Territory Police for a while too. So very very long career. And he's got some incredible stories, mate. I don't know what it is. What it is with doggies at the moment? They're all getting on our podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be tipping the fancy. I can never keep up with them when we're running around trying to bloody catch crooks, but Ryan did plenty of work for them. So, no, very good.
But everybody loves the dog stories, mate. So
yeah, people love the dogs more than they like the coppers holding it.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the Crim so much, because I think there was quite a few of them terrified of the dog. So rightly
mate.
so.
You're not the only one scared of the old land shark. I'm a bit that way myself. The firm missile that they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that'll wrap us, mate. I think nice and short and sharp, but we'll talk to you all next week.
Yep, definitely will. And look, just another mention, that David Raymond book, the story about Viper. Get the book. I'll read that. I can't remember the name of the book off the top of my head, but definitely read it. It was outstanding. I love the whole thing. So great book. All right, mate. I reckon that'll just about finish us up.
Mate. No worries.
All right.
See you next week.
See you next week.